T6 Texan, that's just one of the names I'll tell you about, is an instructor at that school, Stallion 51, in Yosemite, Florida. That owned and operated by Erik Frazier and his brothers and his staff. Members of that flying staff. Now let me tell you about the airplane, since I told you about the pilot. Built by North America, this 5,000-pound trainer came off the production line initially in 1938. It had a production run right up to 1953. One of, if not the longest production run of all. Especially a trainer. This was the advanced trainer, as John Council told you. We started out with an airplane like John Moore flew, an open cockpit, double-wing primary hostile trainer. And then before the pilot went into combat, most likely he would get time in this North American aircraft. Now the maneuvers that you're going to see Erik Frazier do are extremely difficult because remember, we're talking about late 1930s technology. I guess it would be like trying to race at NASCAR with a Peterbilt semi. You'll make it look easy, but I gotta tell you, it's quite often, it is a tremendous amount of effort. Even the strong guys, where they do maneuvers like the 4-point hesitation roll. It just takes two hands on the stick. Over the 14-year production run from 38 to 53, the numbers are rather vague as to the total production run on this airplane. Certainly it was high. You will read that there were 13,000, 14,000, 15,000, and 16,000 if you check 5 or 6 different history books. Well, the thing of it is they were used by the United States, Australia, Canada, Great Britain, and Sweden. 3 names, 4 names, many names. They were called the T6 Texan by the Army Air Corps. They were built between Dallas and Fort Worth. That's how they got that name. And Erik has a difficult 80-20 difficulty factor, making it look easy in a sweet airplane, but that is a big girl. Then the Australians had a variant of this aircraft. It was called the Whirlaway, but it was based somewhat on this design. The Canadians had an airplane with a fixed gear called a Gale. It had a different engine, but it was based on this airplane. So the production run, that's why it is so vague. Now over the years, like many trainers, it was put to use as a light attack and fighter aircraft. Many of these types of aircraft were fitted with a 30 caliber machine gun with a light bomb and sometimes Erik Frazier now into that coordination maneuver known as the barrel roll, a change of altitude, change of direction, and change of speed. And you end up at the terminal altitude. That was meant to use all controls in the aircraft, getting the pilot ready for combat. By the way, quite a number of people got basic training in this airplane, including our 41st president, number 41 we call George Bush, and the legendary Marine Corps ace of World War II, Greg Happy Boyington, who led his Black Sheep Squadron to fame. 3 aerial victories were claimed during World War II, and even in the jet age of Korea, by an aircraft like this. Now, the Navy called this same airplane the SNJ. S for training, N for Navy, and J for the manufacture of the aircraft. I told you it was built by North American Aviation. The predecessor company to North American Aviation was the Burlington Joint Corporation, hence the J, or the JJ, on the aircraft. The British and Canadians, they call the same airplane the Harley. 600 horsepower engine, and the top speed in the dive about 220 miles an hour if you were lucky. Advanced trainer, the last one before you went into combat or bombing or transport, because it had a variable pitch throttle. It had a high torque input on the controls, and it also had a retractable landing gear, a complex or advanced trainer, as Erik Frazier shows you that gear right on cue. it comes down. And like many aircraft of World War II, it is a tail dragger aircraft. Tail dragger aircraft were very common but not exclusive to both bombers and fighters in World War II. It made visibility kind of tough on the ground, and after World War II, when we got into the jet age, virtually every aircraft was going to have that nose wheel for many reasons. Easier to land, and much greater visibility when you are landing, because the tail's up, you can finally see over that big, large tower. So landing in these aircraft are even challenging. The speed has to be right on. Once you get it on the ground, the tail comes down. All forward visibility over that big engine is lost. What you do is put equal amounts of concrete on the left side as you do on the right. On the south runway, you look for the landing lights. Okay, equal amount of landing lights on the right as there are on the left. And then to taxi, you actually taxi in an S fashion. When you turn to the right on that general S and head to the right side of the taxiway, in fact, you look out the left side. Speaking of looking out the left side, it's time for the Aero Shell Squadron, and that means it is